Joining us. Very excited to tell you about our company, NextLeaf Solutions. We're an extraction technology company based in Vancouver, Canada. Proud to say we're the first publicly traded company to have an issued US patent around the extraction and purification of cannabinoids. So over the last 27 months since we started this company, we've been an R&D focused business. The CFO and myself were at Peace Naturals. We were the first commercial scale producer of medical cannabis oil in Canada. We were acquired in August of 2016 and we started this company, and we said that from day one that we would never grow a plant. We wanted to be the absolute best in this country at extraction and purification, taking low grade biomass and putting it into THC, CBD and other cannabinoid based products. We had acquired some technology that we had found out in British Columbia, and as many of you know or may not know, BC for decades has been the hotbed for cannabis production, going back to the 1960s. And we had found some technology that had been developed under the old MMAR program in Canada by a cannabis entrepreneur in BC who had been in the industry for 15 years. When I was coming from Peace Naturals and seeing the Metrums and the Bedrocans and the early LPs and sort of where they were in those days in extraction, and I saw this gentleman who was light years ahead of these big companies running out of a little small industrial unit, somehow convinced him to shut down what he was doing. He vended in his technology. We brought the patent lawyers in and filed 20 patents around his process of going from extraction through refinement and molecular distillation. So at the heart of what we do, we view ourselves first and foremost as a technology company. And secondly, now as a technology company in 2019, that's transitioning from an R&D based innovative company that's been focused on developing IP, focused on developing patents and scaling up market validated technology into Canada's and the world's emerging market for oils and derivative based products. So our business model, which I'll get into a little further into the presentation, is based on two revenue streams. We believe that a lot of companies over the last 5 years in this industry, and Canada sort of being a leader as being the first G20 nation to legalize cannabis federally, we've seen a lot of mistakes made with companies that have tried to do it all. So we said that from day one, let's focus on what we do best, and what we do best is extraction technology and processing. Our business model is based around leveraging our strengths as an organization. Our revenue model is simply toll processing and white label manufacturing. Contract manufacturing is another word. We see this industry in this country being an industry that a lot of capital has flowed into. And 90% of that capital has flowed into building large-scale cultivation. And that sounds great in a press release that talks about millions of square feet of funded capacity. The only problem with it is Canada just legalized outdoor cultivation of medical and adult use cannabis. So when a company like NextLeaf has patented technology that can take low-grade outdoor product and capture those molecules in a tasteless, odorless, colorless fashion that can then be infused and become the building block of every cannabis-infused product, we said, let's focus on that and let's focus on delivering those solutions to growers and farmers that don't have the same extraction capabilities, and more importantly, and really what our focus is as an organization, is the downstream customers. So the first question we always get is, tell me about your IP and what's unique about what you're doing versus what all these other guys who are making oil are doing. And I use this little chart to sort of represent our patented process, and what a lot of guys are doing and what we see in the industry is moonshine. So that's what we consider crude extraction. That's when you're running a CO2, ethanol, or butane-based system through your biomass, and you get a crude extract. Now, you can obviously put that into oil. The issue is you've got chlorophyll, fats, lipids, dyes, impurities, waxes, the stuff that causes issues with taste, smell, and most importantly, standardization of dosage. So our patented process goes beyond crude extraction. Similar to when you think, what's the difference between high purity premium vodka versus moonshine? It's in the filtration. Cannabis oil is exactly the same way. What makes our patented tech unique is that we go beyond crude through the refinement and purification stage. we finish with a triple molecular distillation process. What all that means is that we're able to get that to a tasteless, odorless distillate. Now, it's not just about making distillate. As we all know, this industry isn't going to be won by companies that produce standardized molecules on a small scale. This industry is headed to a place of very, very large scales very quickly. And it's not just about the end product. It's not just about collecting molecules and purifying molecules. It's about being able to do that very efficiently, more efficiently than some of the competitors, and being able to do that at scale as now outdoor cultivation comes online. The US Farm Bill has absolutely changed this industry, and companies that cannot process hemp, low-grade hemp, and pull that CBD molecule out are going to be in a world of trouble as this market becomes all about infused product 12 months from now. The issue that our patented process solves is being able to get to that high purity molecule, and again, that removal of the fats and lipids and the waxes. We filed 20 patents around this process, so our issued patent is around our end-to-end process. We've also filed patents around some hardware that we just couldn't buy off the shelf that we had custom designed through the filtration and trace impurity removal phase. We've also filed patents around less efficient ways to get to the same end game. And 2016, when we saw what Ryan had built and created over 10 years of tinkering and working on a very small scale, we said, how do we take this technology? One, how do we scale it to an unbelievable scale? We brought a chemical engineer, PhD from oil and gas, and she had been scaling up biodiesel from pilot scale to commercial scale, and we're doing exactly the same thing. The second thing is obviously very key is for us as a business is developing IP and patents around getting to this pure distillate at the end of the day, which we think is going to be the building block for edibles and vape pens and all these products. So we filed a number of patents around less efficient ways to get to the same end game. As a company, we think the bulk of our value is in our IP portfolio, and again, very proud that we've been able to beat every single billion-dollar cannabis producer to the first issued patent. So looking at our business model, and for us, again, we've been an R&D focused business, and we've got 12 full-time scientists. 2019 now is about scaling this, getting into commercial production. As many of you know or have heard, cannabis is being legalized as far as extracted and derivative forms, the edibles, the vape pens. What we call legalization 2.0, that's October 2019. So as a business, this is all about getting ready to supply that demand. Our business model, as I mentioned earlier, toll processing, white label production. So we purchase biomass or do toll processing agreements with producers that have a lot of low-grade material, and then that oil, that finished product, either goes to another processor. So we have a bottling partner, which I'll talk to in a moment. We can also sell direct to the provinces, Canada, or what the legal distribution point is. We think in Canada, there's a seismic shift that's going on right now. And that shift is that we're going to see a whole lot of companies that are currently not producing cannabis, but will be in the next 12 to 24 months. And those are CPG-based companies, nutraceutical-based companies. We always say there's a lot of great natural health products out there that you add a tasteless, odorless, colorless molecule to, and now those are even better products. And our strategy has really been to procure molecules and reformulate those into formulations based on what our customers want. And our customers are those that want to take that product, focus on the marketing, focus on the distribution. I say this a lot. A company like PepsiCo doesn't own its own sugarcane farms. When people talk about vertical integration and doing it all from seed to sale, that sounds great in a boardroom, but you just don't see that in other industries. And so for us, we think in having a business model where we focus on what we do best and solving a big, big problem in this industry, and that's producing products that are oil-based for our customers, that this is the best way to get a lot of shareholder value in the short term. When we look at the extract market, many of you obviously have been talking about it and hearing about it over the last couple of days, and extracts is what the mass market wants. Whether it's the medical market or the adult use market, mass market is not rolling a joint and smoking. There's always going to be a great market. For us as a company, it's all about being able to get to that tasteless, odorless, and be able to manufacture those molecules for these downstream customers. Again, the PepsiCos buy molecules and formulate products in whatever jurisdiction that they want to operate in. It's the same for any large CPG. And that's really been our focus as a company. Now, over the last 5 years, there's been a lot of focus on growing plants, and there's been a lot of focus on selling bud and millions of square feet. I think what the market is starting to realize is that when you start looking at derivative product manufacturing, this isn't all that different from biotech, life sciences, and industries where intellectual property is very, very important. So there's been a couple of sort of media outlets. We are very excited, obviously, for not only the focus on IP, but again, what's happening in October. This is where we started as a business 2 years ago. As we were waiting to get our centralized processing facility up and running, we said, let's create a pilot scale version of our plant and be able to market validate our technology on a pilot scale at a client's facility. You can see a picture of the mobile unit being hauled here. This has allowed us to market validate and legally continue to develop and improve upon this IP that we acquired 2 years ago. So this is where we're evolving to as a business. Quick little picture inside of our centralized processing facility. Phase 1, we're just under 7,000 square feet. We've set up the facility 40 minutes east of Vancouver. Very strategic for 2 reasons. One, that it's in a community that's been very supportive of cannabis technology and cannabis processing, but more importantly, within 1 hour's drive is 9 million square feet of existing greenhouses that are being transitioned to grow cannabis. And why we love that cultivation style is what we've learned over the last few years is when you try to grow cannabis at 50,000 or 1 million square feet, you're going to end up with a lot of low-grade biomass. And if you read the newspaper and see that there's only 25 retail locations in Ontario because there's not enough supply, yet when you look at the data, it'll tell you there's 130 tons of finished product sitting in vaults. The issue is that dried cannabis isn't equal. And what's great about, again, greenhouse cultivation and being in an area where there's so much of it within an hour's drive from us is that there's no shortage of biomass. And obviously, with outdoor cultivation now legal as of October 2018, we expect to see the first outdoor grows in Canada for possibly as soon as this summer, as well as within an hour's drive is, more importantly, to our business, is 4,000 federally licensed small-scale personal producers. These are guys that have gone to open-minded doctors and had a license to cultivate their own plants and are protected under the Allard Supreme Court decision. Now, the government about a year ago introduced legislation that we're very excited about, and we had really set up our business model to supply this group, and that's a new license called a micro-cultivation license. And I think what we're going to see is the over 18,000 federally licensed small-scale growers in British Columbia that combined grew more than 10 times what every licensed producer across Canada did last year. Now, those are companies that have or individuals, I should say, patients that have no legal way to sell that product. Federal government bringing in the micro-license, it's been a game changer because now it allows them to participate in legalization. For us, it's significant because these companies cannot do their own extraction, so they have to work with a toll processor. And again, for us, we're in the business of providing solutions and not in the business of competing with and developing brands. We want to support our customers. Just quickly, product formulations. Again, there's a lot of people talking about this. We're the only guys that can say we've got patented technology that simplifies the manufacturing of all these products. Most importantly is the vape pen, edibles, and obviously beverages. We got a great beverage partner. This really enforces our business strategy that do one thing and do it well. Don't try to do it all. So we found guys that know how to run a CPG-based beverage company. They're selling water-based beverages, 3,500 retailers across the country. We're the exclusive provider of CBD and THC. We believe that these guys are going to be the first bottling company licensed to do infused beverages in Canada. They've got a plant existing that has a capacity to do 40 million bottles a year. All the CBD and THC that go into those bottles will come from our plant that we had just talked about earlier. So I know we're a little short for time, so I'm gonna skip through, but want to obviously highlight something that we're very proud of, and that is that we've had great support from the government of Canada. I think we are part of what we believe to be the largest ever R&D grant for cannabis, and that's with a company called Terramera. They're a biotech company out of Vancouver. That grant's all about biopesticides and how do we get pesticides out of the biomass, and obviously that's the billion-dollar question that every single company is faced with as the US legalizes federally for CBD-based products. Canada has obviously did that 5 years ago, and the issue on the production side is being able to meet the Health Canada requirements around pesticides. So for us, we've been very focused on this. We have great support from the National Research Council as well. Our management team, as I mentioned, myself and our CFO, before we started this company, we were at Peace Naturals and went through to acquisition by Kronos in 2016. Our team, Ryan Coe is the inventor of our patented technology, 15 years in the cannabis industry. He's now our chief technical officer, and he's been a game changer because we've been able to build a team of engineers and scientists around this 15 years of extraction experience. Krupal Pal is our PhD chemical engineer that we had brought in. We've got 3 PhDs on staff. Tommy Olnowski is a key person on our team. He ran a company called Canna Farms. That was British Columbia's first legal commercial producer. That company was acquired in the summer, and we were lucky enough for Tom to join us and run our production facility. So looking ahead to the next 12 months, we're going to continue to develop, expecting to double our patent portfolio over the next 12 months. When I saw Bruce Linton talk about Canopy last time, I was very interested in his 80 patents pending that Canopy has, and we expect to get to that number. But more importantly, we expect to have patents that we filed a couple of years ago issued this year. We've chosen the U.S. as our primary jurisdiction for IP, and then as patents get issued, we file in other jurisdictions around the world. As a company, our big milestone is obviously getting into commercial production, which we expect to happen in line with these products being legalized. We've recently just gone public on the CSE. Trade under the ticker OILS. Very excited. I think we've been a public company for about 3 weeks, and we've got big plans to scale our business. And we went public through Mackie and Gravitas, and I think the great folks at Gravitas are here today. And we're extremely excited now, looking ahead on where this industry is going, and it's simply not going to a place where shareholder value is created by companies that grow plants. It's created by companies that develop technology around transitioning and transforming those plants into products. Again, we've been very, very focused on the IP development, supporting that process of extraction, purification, and manufacturing. We're here for the next, I guess, for the rest of the day, and that sort of wraps up our presentation. Would love to open it up to any questions. As you can tell, we're very passionate about what we do and love to chat about the industry, and would invite any questions that anybody may have. Down to the molecular compounds. We think that the low-hanging fruit in this industry is CBD and THC molecules, and being able to get down to the molecular level in a form that's tasteless, odorless, and colorless. And obviously there's a lot of excitement around some of the minor cannabinoids. That's not our focus right now. We have the technology to do it, but we think that the big commercial appeal is for products that are CBD and THC based and formulated based on the end client. But that's been our focus again, is the chemistry and the technology behind that. What are your plans for entering the U.S. market? We have no plans to enter the U.S. market till it's federally legal to do so. And I say this a lot. Up here in Canada, we love Donald Trump. We love Donald Trump because he is great for our country and he's great for our industry. And I believe that Donald Trump will get reelected in 2020, and I believe that cannabis will be federally legal in the US for at least 3 more years. And when you look at Altria, the guys that bought us out, there's no way that those guys do that deal unless if Altria believes that cannabis is going to be federally legal in the US for a long, long time. And so our US strategy is just solely based around hemp, bringing in biomass. We love farmers. I grew up son of a dairy farmer. My family's been in farming for 40 years. For us, our strategy in the US is solely around importing US hemp into Canada and pulling out molecules out of that biomass.
Thank you, Paul.
Thanks very much, everybody.